Hey guys, how you doing? I'm Matt Gear and this is Matt Gear TV. Thanks for watching. I've got something a little bit different for you today. I'm not going to do much playing. Actually, probably won't do any playing at all. But what I'm going to talk to you about is goals and goal setting. Now, I'm going to assume for the most part that those of you who are watching this are sort of serious guitar players, and what I mean by that is that you're serious about getting better and you're serious about improving as a guitar player. I know some people are just recreational guitarists, pick it up, have a strum, put it down again, and that's absolutely fine, nothing wrong with that. But the purpose of this lesson, really, this video, is to help you make the most of your time when you're practicing and when you're playing, and really to help you define exactly what it is that you want to get from playing guitar. Now, it's January 2014, and January tends to be the time of year that people are making New Year's resolutions, must be fit, must go to the gym, stop smoking, stop drinking so much, all that sort of stuff. And that's sort of why I'm putting up this lesson now, because it's after Christmas, it's January. In England it's pretty miserable at the moment, had lots of rain, everybody sort of spent their money over Christmas and thinking, well, what shall I do now? And it's a really good time of year to sort of have a bit of a clean slate, and you go, well, look, it's a new year. What am I going to do with myself this year? What am I going to do with my guitar playing specifically? Now, when we talk about goal setting, sort of one of the analogies that's commonly used is going on a journey. Now, you might say, well, why do I need to set a goal? If you wanted to go on a journey, you need to know where you're going to go to start off with. You're going to visit friends, you're going to go on holiday, whereabouts are you going to go? You need to know what your destination is. Depending on what your destination is, obviously you're going to take a specific route to get there. It's the same thing with setting a goal. Just saying I want to be a guitarist isn't really good enough, because there's lots of different ways that you can be a guitarist. You can play one of these, you can play one of these, and what you'll do to get better at each of those particular guitars will be very different. Do you want to be a jazzer? Do you want to be a blues player? Do you want to be a rocker? Metal? Do you want to be a sensitive singer-songwriter? All those different things, and depending on which one of those things you want to be, how you get there will be a completely different route, completely different destination, different journey. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just give you a few tips and a few tools that you can use to help define that. And actually, for those of you, who are maybe a bit younger, maybe you're at school or college, you might not be particularly familiar with this. For those of you who may be a bit older, like me, been working for a while, if you've ever had an interview with your boss or with your HR manager or whatever, you're probably familiar with the concept of goals and goal settings. It's the sort of thing that when you've got a job, people judge you on. Are you doing a good job? But those same tools can be used for hobbies, for recreation, for guitar playing, if you go to the gym, all that sort of stuff. And so it's the same set of tools, same set of principles, but just based on playing guitar rather than work or exercise or whatever it is. Now, like I said, if you are serious about playing guitar, setting goals is vital, because otherwise it's very easy just to, well, I know I need to practice if I want to be a better guitar player, so I'm going to pick up my guitar and I'm going to do some stuff, whatever that stuff is. And you know what, if you do that regularly, you'll get better. But going back to the analogy of a journey, it's kind of like saying, well, I want to go somewhere, I'm not quite sure where I want to go, so I'm just going to step outside my front door and go for a wander, or I'm going to go for a drive. And I'll see where the mood takes me. Now, in some respects, I guess there's nothing wrong with that. You might meet some interesting people along the way, and you might find some stuff that you didn't know, but it's not the best use of your time if you have a specific idea in mind in terms of what you want to do. So, setting a goal, saying, well, actually, I want to go to London, or I want to go to New York, or I want to go to Toronto, wherever it is that you want to go. By saying that, immediately you go, right, there's a specific goal. When I get there, this is where I want to be, how am I going to get there? And then you're organising yourself, and you're going to spend your time, when you step outside the front door, get on a car, get on a plane, much more efficiently. Otherwise, if you want to go to Toronto and you just get outside and wander around, you're never going to end up there probably. I'm not anyway, because I live in England. If all this sounds kind of a little bit obvious, it kind of is really, but I think human beings in general don't tend to think about this sort of stuff because it is obvious. And you do just pick up your guitar and you play for a couple of years and wonder why you're not actually getting any better and you're not making any progress. So this is really, really important. As I said, it's January, let's get started, let's make it a really, really good year and say to yourself, do you know what, 2014 is the year that I'm really, really going to make some headway playing guitar. Now, this is kind of an exercise, again, as I've said in previous videos, if you just watch this and watch the video and go, okay Matt, I get it, and then go away and don't do anything else, you're not going to get the benefits from it. So what you need is three things really. One, you need a bit of time to yourself, a little bit of peace and quiet. Two, you need a pen. Three, you need a piece of paper, or a couple of pieces of paper. Or what I use that I find really useful is these things, record cards, because they're quite small, easy to write notes on, and actually you can take them around with you, because one of the things we'll talk about later in terms of setting goals, it's important to be able to refer back to these. You don't just write them down on a piece of paper and throw them away. Once you've kind of got yourself a bit of peace and quiet, you've got yourself a pen and paper, what do you do? Well, what you need to do is work backwards. So if any journey you take, obviously the first thing that you need to know, whereabouts are you going to go? I'm going to London, going to Toronto, going to New York. You start with whereabouts am I going? Where's my end goal? Now that's a long-term goal. So we're going to work back from long-term to medium-term to short-term. And the long-term goal has got to be, where do you ultimately want to end up? Now, for some people you might say, well, I want to be a professional guitarist, or I want to go to college and study music, or I want to write an album, or I want to learn how to play this particular song. It can be as grand or as as modest an ambition as you like, but it's better to err on the side of the bigger the better. Okay, make it a big goal. Make it because we're talking years here in terms of getting to your long-term goal. Maybe 2 or 3 years. So I want to be a professional musician. Okay, that's great. I want to write an album. I want to write a song. I want to join a band. Okay, that's another good ambition to have. So that's your long-term goal, and write that down. Long-term goal, Matt's long-term goal is be in a band, to write an album, to write an EP, to perform on stage in front of X number of people. Write that down. And what you can then do is work backwards from that mid-term goal. Okay, so what steps do I need to take in the medium term to get to that? And then write down your medium-term goal. So if you want to join a band, for example, find a good band, maybe you need to identify the bands in your local area, start talking to people, start introducing yourself to people. At the same time, you need to get your chops up, you need to get your practice, you need to decide what sort of band is it going to be. Is it going to be a rock band, blues band, jazz band, all that sort of stuff. What stuff do you need to learn to get there? Maybe those are your mid-term goals. Short-term goals are then actually, well, what are the very specific things that I need to learn? I need to learn this scale, I need to learn that scale, I need to learn these songs, I need to improve my improvisation. And then you can break that down, and you've got 3 sets of goals, short-term, medium-term, long-term, and you can work your way through that. Now, just because you set your long-term goal doesn't mean that it's immovable. You may find that as you work your way along through your short-term goals, maybe even through your medium-term goals, actually that goal at the end, you decide, well, do you know what, I don't want to be in a local band, I want to be in a different band. Actually, I don't want to be in a band, I want to start my own band. So maybe then your priorities change, your goals change, that's absolutely fine, but you're moving along. It's important that you're making progress. If you don't set goals and you don't make plans to hit those goals, then what will happen when you're practicing, like I said, you'll pick it up, you go, well, I'll play a couple of scales, I'll learn a song or two. You're not doing anything specific to actually move you forward. One thing that I'd say about setting goals, and like you said, if you're working and you're in business and you've spoken to a line manager or an HR manager or anything like that, you might be aware of this particular principle, is there are specific ways about writing goals to make them more useful for you. And the acronym that is commonly used is SMART, S-M-A-R-T. So you should have SMART goals. Now, what that means is the S stands for specific. Okay, so you need to have a specific goal, and it needs to be stated in such a way that it is measurable. So a particular goal, for example, you might say, I want to be a better guitarist. Now, that's not a very good goal because, well, what is a better guitarist? What does a better guitarist look like? It's not specific. A specific goal is, I want to be in a band. Because it's either yes or no. You're either in a band or you're not in a band. Or I want to write 5 songs. You've either written 5 songs or you haven't written 5 songs. So that's a specific goal. The M part is measurable. How do you know how far along you are in terms of completing this particular goal? Like I said, I've written 5, want to write 5 songs. Well, I've only written 3. Okay, I've not reached my goal yet. And again, if you come up with a fairly wishy-washy goal that's not specific, I want to write songs. How many songs? What sort of songs? You know, you've got to be specific. Now we come to the A. So we've had the specific, measurable. A stands for achievable. Can you physically do this? Is it something that you can do? Now, there's nothing wrong with setting difficult goals, but they've got to be doable. For me, I could say, do you know what? I want to be a heavyweight boxing champion of the world. Now, that's specific. It is measurable, but is it achievable? No chance. Why? Because I'm in my late 30s, I weigh 12.5 stone, and I can't really fight. So actually, that's not a particularly great goal for me. A better goal is, like I said, I want to write five rock songs, and I want to have them recorded scratch tracks in GarageBand. There you go. That's an achievable goal because it's doable. If you've not got GarageBand, well, actually one of your jobs then is to get GarageBand. Yeah, it's all doable. Those things are doable. So make sure that your goal is achievable. The R in SMART stands for relevant. So it's got to be relevant to you. We've sort of talked about the types of goals that you might want to have. Now, if you say you want to be a singer-songwriter, maybe you're going to be focusing more on playing one of these, an acoustic guitar, rather than one of these, an electric guitar. Now, there's lots of things that you can learn on the guitar that actually might not be particularly relevant to a singer-songwriter. I don't know, sweep picking, for example. It's a perfectly worthwhile pursuit in its own right if you're going to be a rocker and if you're going to be a shredder, but actually you're probably not going to do much of it, if at all, if you're a singer-songwriter playing an acoustic guitar. So it's not relevant. What is relevant for a singer-songwriter? Well, writing lyrics is, that's important. Learning to sing is important. Learning to sing and play at the same time, that's important as well. So, you know, there's some more realistic goals and more relevant goals for someone who is trying to be a singer-songwriter. Alternatively, let's turn that on its head. If you do want to be a shredder, and you do want to learn that stuff, actually sweep picking is going to be something that you want to learn, whereas singing probably isn't. So it's got to be relevant to what you want to do. The final one, the T in SMART, is time-based. Okay, so what's important when you're setting these goals is to give yourself a time. And so you say, well, actually, going back to the one that we were talking about earlier, I want to record 5 songs in GarageBand, scratch tracks, by the end of the year, by Christmas 2014. Okay, so you put a line in the sand, you go, by this day I'm going to have this done. Now, the reason you do that is because otherwise you've got basically the rest of your life to achieve this goal. And chances are you probably won't do it because, you know, human mind is, people tend to be lazy. People tend to go, all right, I've got five songs, I'm going to write them. When am I going to write them? Oh, I'll write them when I write them. You know, got plenty of time to do them. And stuff slides, stuff slips. And by putting a time milestone in, you know, a deadline for yourself, Christmas this year, whenever it might be Christmas next year. Do you know what? That's fine as well. If you say I'm going to write 5 songs by Christmas next year, that's fine. But you've got a goal, you've got a milestone. You know, right, by that date I've got to do this. And as you work, as you go about your daily routine, daily life, going to school, going to work, playing guitar, you know, seeing the kids, family, whatever it is, you know, actually, I've got to work towards this. So when you're playing the guitar, when you do come to pick the guitar up, actually, you've got that in the back of your mind. And you think, well, look, if I'm going to do that, I need to get a move on. And what you can do is, let's go back to 5 songs by Christmas this year. If you break that down, you say, well, actually, I've got 12 months. Let's call it 10 months because I'm going to be on holiday for a little bit and going to be busy with other things. Basically, what I need to do is write a song every 2 months. So there's sort of a mid-term goal and a short-term goal. So you go, okay, in the next 2 months, I've got to write 1 song. And when I've done with that, I've got 2 months to write another song. And that helps focus your mind even more. It's a case of focusing your time and focusing your effort on something that's going to be beneficial for you. Now, if this all sounds a little bit like hard work, it kind of is, but kind of isn't. You know, it's a case of organising yourself and getting organised with your playing. If you were to pick your guitar up and play every day with no goals and no plans in place, by the time you get to this Christmas, do you know what? You will be a better guitar player because you've been playing every day. Whatever it is that you've been playing every day, you'll be better at it. However, you won't be specifically achieving the things that you want to achieve unless you go through this process of writing goals, which is why it's important. Now, I say writing because we said what you need: time and space, you need pen and paper. You need to write these things down. And once you've written them down, don't put the piece of paper away, don't chuck it in a bin, keep it. And like I said, if you've got one of these little record cards, they're great because you can write them down and say, okay, 5 songs a year, 5 songs by the end of the year, 5 songs by Christmas, 1 song by the end of March, another song by the end of May, and so on and so forth. And read that every day. When you get up in the morning, say, okay, what are my goals as a guitarist? What am I going to do? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to record an EP, I'm going to write songs, I'm going to join a band, I'm going to do whatever it is. And remind yourself of those things. That's important because you're reinforcing that message to yourself that this is what you're going to do. And you'll become the goals. You'll go, okay, I know what I've got to do. So when you sit down and play guitar, rather than just aimlessly playing whatever it is, you'll pick it up and go, okay, I've got songs to write, I've got stuff to do, I've got stuff to record in GarageBand, or I've got this stuff to learn, I've got these techniques, this is what I need to do. And it will focus your time on the things that are important to you. And when you get to the end of that, when you get to the end of the year and you go, I've got my 5 songs, that's great. Give yourself a pat on the back. Seriously, it's really important to reward yourself for the time that you've put in. When I say reward yourself, you don't have to, you know, write yourself a check or give yourself a gold star, but treat yourself something. Take yourself out to dinner. Give yourself a pat on the back, literally, and say, do you know what, well done, Matt, I've done this, I've achieved what I set out to do. And then start again, go through this process again, reset your goals and say, well, now I've recorded 5 songs, what do I want to do? Well, actually, I want to take them to a studio, I want to get them recorded properly, I need to, all that stuff, I want to release them, I want to release them on iTunes. There you go. Yeah, all those things, you then start again. And this is an ongoing process. So that's goal setting at a top sort of level. Just to say one quick point as well in terms of goals, and there's lots of stuff that you can read online about this. Just Google goal setting, Google SMART goals, and you can read quite a lot of stuff about it, if you want to, of course. There's 2 types of goals, broadly speaking, that you can set yourself, and you might discover this when you start jotting stuff down. And one is a process goal, and one is an objective goal. Now, an objective goal is something like, I want to record 5 songs in GarageBand, because it's very clear cut, there's something there at the end of it, it's an objective, it's something that you will achieve. The other type of goal is called a process goal, and a process goal is something that you do. Talking about physical fitness, for example, you might say, actually, process goal is I am going to go to the gym 3 days a week. I am going to ride my bike 2 days a week. That's an objective goal. It's not specific in terms of I'm going to ride my bike for 10 miles this week. You say, actually, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something. Okay, it's based on an activity. So for us, for a guitarist, you say, actually, I'm going to play my guitar every day. Nothing more than that. And actually, if there was one goal that I would say every guitarist can take away, that is a great goal. It's a great process goal. I'm going to play my guitar every day, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Because the reason it's a great goal is because getting better at guitar, getting better at anything is about repetition. It's about time spent doing that thing, whether it's playing guitar, riding a bike, playing golf, whatever it is. The more time you spend doing it, the better you'll get. So there's a great goal. I'm going to play my guitar every day, and that's a process goal. And if you have process goals on your list, that's great. It's just a case of doing them. So that's all for now. I hope this has been useful. There's been lots of talking, but it's important stuff. And I think this is an exercise that I'm going through for myself at the moment. I'm going, what do I want to do in 2014? And it's really a way of professionalising your life as a guitarist, really, because you know, if you're a business, you have business goals. You know, what do I want to do? What does the business want to do? How's the business going to improve? Treat yourself as a musician as a business. How are you going to be better at the business of being Matt Gear the guitarist, or being whoever you are, the guitarist? Well, what do I want to do? I want to sell records, I want to join a band, I want to have a YouTube channel, you know, all that sort of stuff. And I'm going through this process myself. I'm writing stuff down, I'm working on it. And I kind of wanted to share it with you because I sincerely believe, and actually I know for a fact, that if you go through the same exercise, by the end of this year, you know, write the goals down, this is what I want to achieve this year, you'll be a much better guitarist, and a much better guitarist than you would be if you didn't go through this process and you just picked up your guitar every day and played stuff, whatever it is. So what will be really interesting, guys, is if you've got any questions about this, as always, feel free to contact me. You can contact me on my email address below, put a comment below. But it'd be really interesting to hear from you. What goals have you set? It'd be great to get your feedback. You know, so if you want to share them with everybody, just put a comment in the box below and say, look, for my goals for 2014 are this. This is what I want to achieve. And it'd just be really great to hear what you guys are up to, what you've got planned. And if you want any advice, if you want any help with planning goals and all that sort of thing, again, put a comment below, ask me a question, drop me an email to my email address, and you know what, I'll be really happy to hear from you and really happy to get back in touch with you. So that's it, that's goal setting. Seems very simple, it is very simple, but use it and reap the benefits. And what I'll do maybe later in the year is put another video up on goal setting, let you guys know how I'm getting on. Yeah, one of my goals is videos, doing more of these things for you guys. I'm writing, you know, I've got a goal to write a certain number of songs this year and get them recorded as scratch tracks. Improve technique, not particularly specific, I'm still working on the specifics of what techniques I want to work on, but you know, we can talk about it, and let's find out how we all get on this year, and by Christmas 2014, you know, let's see where we are, let's see how we've all got on. So that's everything. I've been Matt Gear, this has been Matt Gear TV. As always, I hope you found it useful. If you did, let me know. If you didn't, let me know as well. And if you find it interesting, want to hear more, maybe you fancy subscribing to my channel as well. Until next time, you guys take it easy, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, cheers.